Hello, everyone. Good evening. How is everyone doing? I hope you had a wonderful and blessed day on today. And I just want to thank each and every one of you for joining me this wonderful evening for Transformation Late Night Chronicles with Pam. We're going to get started in a second. And I didn't put my mic on. Today was my birthday. I'm finally just now winding down from a busy day today. But it was a blessed day. It was a blessing today of everything. I'm sorry, I hope you can hear me now. That I had going on today. We're going to be celebrating my birthday a little bit more this weekend, but I enjoyed it. And I just wanted to thank all of you who posted birthday wishes and happy birthday comments. Thank you very much. Thank you. That was a blessing. There were so many, and I just thank each and every one of you for putting up your happy birthday blessings. Thank you very much. I really needed it. It was very uplifting for today because, like I said, I had a busy day today. We jumped in some stuff last night, and I wanted to kind of do a part 2. But as a little commercial before I get started, I just want to throw it out there for those of you who are online and those of you who are coming in. I am a paparazzi consultant, and the paparazzi is Paparazzi Accessories. And you can find me on paparazziaccessories.com. And just put / Pamela Jordan. You can pull up my webpage. I sell the $5 jewelry bling. So if you're into jewelry, ladies, or even gentlemen, if you want to get something for your loved one, or Mother's Day is coming up around the corner, hit me in the comment button. Let me know, and I can share some of the jewelry that I do have. So you can be blessed, and it's only $5. So I just want to put that out there. As I said, last night we had a wonderful session last night. I thank all of you that joined in last night, gave your comments, the topic that came up, the question that came up that we talked about last night. And then we were able to get a little bit into our topic. So tonight I'm going to try to get in a little bit more of the topic that we planned. But if there is another question out there that someone has on their mind that they want to ask or talk about, feel free to kind of bring it in and post it up. And we can see what we can do and whatever the Lord says and how he directs us. So as always, put your comments down there. Give me some thumbs up. Let me see some hearts shoot up. Let me know that you are enjoying Transformation Late Night Chronicles with Pam. So I thank you all. Tonight's topic, and that says a part 2 of what we talked about last night. I'll always open up with the scripture, and we're coming from 2 Kings, the 7th chapter, verses 9. And I'm just kind of seeing people coming in. I didn't get a chance to tag people in like I usually do, but it is okay. It is okay. 2 Kings, 7th chapter. And we're on verse 9, and it reads, and it says, "Then they said to each other, 'We're not doing right. This is a day of good news, and we are keeping it to ourselves. If we wait until daylight, punishment will overtake us. Let's go at once and report this to the royal palace.'" So I'm going to go and read verse 8 real quick so you can kind of understand where we're coming from, because I know it's the scriptures kind of leave you hanging. But you can always go back and read it. I always recommend you go back. And I'm reading from the NIV version. It's 2 Kings 7 chapter for those who are asking. And I'm going to read the 8th verse. "The men who had leprosy reached the edge of the camp and entered one of the tents. They ate and drank and carried away silver, gold, and clothes and went off and hid them. They returned and entered another tent and took some things from it and hid them also." And so verse 9 says, "Then they said to each other, 'We're not doing right. This is a day of good news, and we are keeping it to ourselves. If we wait until daylight, punishment will overtake us. Let's go at once and report this to the royal palace.'" What I'm talking about tonight is spiritual hoarding. And as the scripture said, they went into the camp and they found stuff in the tents, and they begin to take things that wasn't there. They begin to hoard things. And we were talking about spiritual hoarding yesterday. And a lot of us are spiritual hoarders. We're hoarding, and I'm saying hoarding things that God is trying to get rid of. A lot of you may be familiar with the show. There's a TV show that comes on about hoarders, and they show you these people and they take you through their homes where they have so much stuff that they can't even walk, move, sleep. eat or anything. Stuff is everywhere. Stuff that they collected for years in stacks and stacks. And people are actually living in this stuff. They're sleeping in this stuff. And the family members get so frustrated that they cry out for help. Well, in a sense, we do that same thing spiritually. I'm going to be looking down at some notes that God gave me. One thing about when you see the show and they enter into a hoarder's home, besides seeing the clutter, there is the odor, the dust, the mold, and some structure damage within the home when they start to enter these homes. That's the same thing that happens to us spiritually. When we become spiritual hoarders and we're holding things that God is trying to get us to release, we're hoarding hurt, we're hoarding pain, we're hoarding bitterness, we're hoarding anger, we're hoarding people's spirits that have moved on, and we don't want to let them go. We keep those things so close to us, and God is trying to deliver us. God is trying to move those things out, and we want to hold on to them, thinking that something good is going to come out. So as the natural hoarders do, we do the same thing in spirit. There's an odor that, the enemy brings an odor, and when you're hoarding stuff, it starts to stink. And you may not smell it because you're in the midst of it, but other people start to smell it. They start to smell your attitude. It starts to stink. Your behavior starts to stink. The way you talk starts to stink. People look at you and say that, you get these attitudes. It starts to stink because you're hoarding stuff that God is trying to let go. So it begins to have an odor to it. You start to look funky. Your attitude gets funky. People don't want to be around you because they're looking at, she got this attitude, he got this attitude. You become dusty. You just don't look the same. Your skin color is different. You start to look ashy and dark and things like that because you're holding on to things that God is trying to let go. And it starts to manifest itself in your appearance and how you look and how you carry yourself and things that you do because you're holding it so close that God can't get in. And it becomes, in some of the structure damage. You talk about structural damage. We are the structural damage. We become damaged when we start to hoard things spiritually that God is trying to take away. It's the part of the damage could be abuse. The scars that you're carrying from being abused, scars that you may have done to yourself. These are some of the structural damage that we do. We let ourselves go. We don't look the same that we did before when we didn't have these things. We're not taking care of ourselves. We're not eating right. We're gaining weight. We're not going to get our hair done. We're not getting haircuts. We're not doing all these things. Our appearance, that's our structural damage. It starts to become damaged because you're holding on to things that God is trying to get you to let go. And you become spiritual hoarders. And when you hoard spiritually, it can cause sicknesses and a lack of relationship with God. Many people go through a lot of sicknesses because they're now letting God do what he needs to do. You're holding on to some things that God keeps trying to tell you, I need you to let go. I cannot bless you if you keep holding on to these things. I shared that a couple of weeks ago. For those who may not know the story, I had to go and clean out a storage unit that I had, and I had it for a very long time. And stuff in it, and I'm sitting here paying a bill of storage of stuff that I don't even know what's in it half the time. And so the stuff has been in there. And, I had to go and clean it out. Well, at one point, I had my kids to go, and everybody was working, everybody was busy, and they couldn't do it, and they couldn't go. And they got upset. I was getting upset with the kids because I'm like, okay, I can't get nobody to help me go. And God had to tell me, no, this is something you have to do. That is your storage unit. That is your deliverance. You have to go in and remove everything. Only you can go in and get rid of these things. Only you can go in and clean it out. Those are the things that you are hoarding. And I need you to go in to clean these things out because I need to be able to bring in the new. But you're keeping old stuff. You're harboring old bitterness, old traditions, old thinking. And God is trying to bring in something new. So I had to go in there and begin to clean out these things. And I got frustrated with the kids because I had no help. But I did it. And then as I was doing it, I had to go and I'm starting going through the boxes and I'm starting pulling out stuff. And one moment I'm like, oh, I need to keep this. And I'm going to keep this. And the Lord said, no, throw it away. throw it away. And it got to a point where God began to tell me, close your eyes and throw it away. Don't look at it. Don't go through it, because you're trying to hold on to some things that I'm trying to let you get rid of and let go, because you're holding on all this stuff, and I can't bring new things to you because you're holding on the old. And it could be old ministries. It could be old relationships. It could be old jobs. It could be so many old things, the abusive relationship that we've been in. We become the victim. We allow ourselves to be victims so long that we don't know how to be free. So you start to hoard and hold on to these things. And God is saying, I can't work through you. I can't allow you to do my work and use you because you hold on to so much. And I need you to let it go so I can begin to bless you. And so that was one of the things I had to deal with when it came to the storage. And I had to start to let go of something. And as I started to do this, guys, and a lot of you're not understand, believe, but as you started to do it, it's like you're taking a weight off. It's like weights are being taken off because you don't have this anymore. This is lifted up. This is moved out. You start throwing things away and it starts to remove, and you find yourself being light, and you find yourself feeling great because now you threw this stuff away. You don't have to worry about it anymore. You've closed this storage bin. You don't have to pay any more money. That money can go into your pocket and you can do so much more with it. And so I was like, Lord, I thank you. The process was hard, but we have to go through the process. And that is so profound, guys. It's going through the process. A lot of times we don't want to go through the process. A hoarder has it very hard naturally to go through that process of being able to go through their home and start to go through the things because they believe everything they have is of value. A lot of times we believe everything that we're holding on to has some value, but in reality, it has no value. The value is gone, and we hold on to it. And so, hey, Vendor, hey, Ramona, and hi, Earl. Thank you guys for joining in. So, we're talking about spiritual hoarding and how we hold on to things spiritually, and God is trying to get us to release it. So one thing about, as I said, we acquire things we don't need. How many of us can say we acquire some things spiritually that we don't need? We acquire spirits for other folks that we don't need. We have acquired things and stuff in our home that we don't need. And we're just getting stuff. Oh, it looks good. It looks nice. I'm going to keep that. And then after a while, you don't even know. You can go through your closet and you got stuff in there that you probably haven't worn over a year. And you probably won't even wear. You can't even remember when you got it. And God is telling you, get rid of it. I'm trying to bring you some new stuff. You praying and asking me for this and asking me for that. But I can't give you the new until you get rid of the old. So he wants us to begin to get rid of some things. And spiritually, it's the same thing. We're holding on to spiritual hurt. We're holding on to hurt. We're holding on to anger. We're angry at someone. We're angry at our moms when we're little girls because mom may have left us and we've gotten abused and maybe in an abusive relationship, and we're holding on to the anger and bitter that I'm not going to mess with any man. I'm not going to date any man anymore because they hurt me. We hold on to all of those things. And God is trying to tell us, I'm trying to deliver you and set you free, but you won't allow me to because you keep holding on to the past. And that is one of the biggest things that we do, saints, is we hold on to the past. We hold on to the things that has happened in our past, and we keep them so tight and close because we put up these walls and we're scared to let the walls down because we said, no one's ever going to do this to me. No one's ever going to treat me like this anymore. So you put up these walls, and God is trying to tear the walls down because he needs to bless you. He wants to do what he needs to do in your life. He wants to get you delivered so you can be a blessing to someone else. Everything that we go through is not for us. What we go through has nothing to do about us. It has to do about somebody else that God has assigned to you that is waiting on you to give them a word of encouragement, to give them a hug, to give them something that you have. You all have a gift. You all have a story to give. But God can't help it manifest itself if you're hoarding on and holding on to a lot of stuff. So, one of the roots of hoarding is a major sense of loss if we throw certain things away. People feel that if I get rid of this thing of this person, I have a picture of this guy that we dated, and if I get rid of it, he's not going to come back. Well, God is trying to tell you he's not coming back. Get rid of it. The scent of a person. We hoard scent, the cologne. We may have their perfume in the house, and we still have this person's scent. And you're thinking you keep this around that they're going to show them and come back. No, God is saying get rid of it, because I have something better for you. I am creating something for you. He is specially made, and he's specially created from heaven. He hasn't been used, abused, and borrowed from nobody else. He is your man, your woman. So we have to do it. Question was, so if we let go of toxic relationships, are we required to entertain these same individuals? No, you're not required. You're letting it go, but don't allow the enemy to use it to the point that you don't even can acknowledge the person. So a lot of times we be in a toxic relationship. God get us out. We want to have nothing else to do with that person. We want to see that person. Unfortunately, God is funny, because he'll have you run to that person again just to see if you've been delivered and to see where you at spiritually. So he may have you see that person again, and that person may speak to you. But when you're fully delivered, you have no problem. I can speak to you. I can say, hey, and keep it moving. I don't, it's like we say, we can have a food fight, but we know how to come back to the table. I can speak to you. I can love you from a distance. I don't have to be your ace boon coon buddy, because I've been delivered. So I can see you. And even though our relationship was toxic, even though you hurt me and you abused me and you did the things you do, I'm delivered. God has freed me so that I can be able to be a blessing to someone else. Because when we don't allow that deliverance to happen, we begin to hold on to them. We begin to hate. And that's when hate and anger and bitterness and all those little things start to manifest itself in us. And so when that person comes around, or you see that person and you hear their name, you're so angry. You're ready to like, oh, if I see him again, I'm going to stab him. But God don't want you to be that. He wants to deliver you to the point that if you hear their name, it doesn't bother you. And that's how you get the enemy. It doesn't bother you. I see the person. It doesn't bother me. I'm not going to forget, but I have to forgive. And that was so important when serving God. I'm not going to forget what you did, but I have to forgive. And I'm not forgiving you for you. I'm forgiving you for me, because I want to move on, and God has some things that I need to do. So I got to forgive you and let these things go so I can move on and do what God has. But I don't forget what you have done to me. So we're not required to entertain these same individuals. But a lot of times God will bring them back to our lives, because you may be the only God that they see. And when they see that you've been changed and delivered and set free, you never know how God is going to use you to be a blessing to them. I can share incidents with me where I was dating a guy, and he cheated on me and all this stuff, and it hurt me bad. Then next day he comes to church with the young lady that he cheated on me with. And I was like, Jesus, if there is a Jesus, somehow you got to get me through this. And I thank God, because it hurt. I would see them together all the time. We're all in the same neighborhood, so I would see them together. And one thing my pastor said, you're going to have to see them together. You're going to have to see them in order for your deliverance to happen. And I was like, no, I'm not going to see them. If I see them, I'm going to kill both of them. But God had me see them every day. And each time I saw them, I can tell the deliverance was happening. It started not to bother me. And it started not to bother me. And it started not to bother me. Because the Lord said there was going to be a day where you're going to have to witness Christ and salvation to this person. And I'm sitting there like, no, I ain't. And Lord said, yes, you is. So I'm like, no, I ain't. So, and to this day, the young lady that he cheated with me on, her daughter is in the same classroom with my grandbaby, and they're like best friends. And so we see each other all the time. So, when we let go of the topics, we're not required to entertain those people. But how our God works, he loves us so much. He's to show off. He's going to show you off that you've been delivered, and he's going to have you do some things that you don't want to do. So, thank you. Good question. And if anybody else has an answer to the question, please post it, because you can bless somebody else. So as I was saying, a major sense of loss if we throw certain things away. We feel that we've lost that person. We keep memories of people. Some are good, some are bad, but there are times that we need to let them go. Allow God to deliver. The memories may not be what you need. If it's a good memory, that's good. But if it's a bad memory, God needs to work on that, because you don't want to live in that. The question, so you are free of bitterness and resentment. Yes, but it's a process. Nothing happens overnight. There's a process, but you have to be willing to allow God to do. You got to be willing to do the work and go through the process. That's the part that we don't want to do when it comes to deliverance. Deliverance is a hard thing. I'm not going to sit here and say it's easy, but deliverance is hard, because deliverance allows us to look at us and look in the mirror and look at our accountability and our culpability and whatever we've done in our lives. A lot of times we want to point the fingers at the other person and not point the fingers at us, because everything we do, we have a partake in it. So once you allow God to take you through the process, you will become free of your bitterness and your resentment. Yes, and it's being transparent. Yes, the process is not. I'm here to tell you, it is not easy. You will buck at the process. You will hate the process, but if you really want to see what the end is going to be, and you really want to be delivered for some things, from that bitterness and resentment, you have to go through the process. And the process, it allows you to see you for who you really are. And it allows you to see your good, your bad, and ugly. And there are times I had to say, ooh, I don't even like myself. I ain't pretty right now. I'm a mean somebody. And that's part of the process, because now you admit it, so God can begin to deliver you. So deliverance is not an easy thing. I'm not going to sit here and tell anybody out there that's listening that deliverance is easy, and deliverance is not overnight. It is a process, and it's a step-by-step thing, because God, we always say, it's peeling the onion. He begins to peel different layers of your life off. And each layer that he begins to peel off, some of it's not good. Some of it's not beautiful. He's going to have you dig deep inside and triage yourself. Just like you go to the hospital and they triage you, you begin to learn how to triage yourself. You begin to learn and figure out, why did these things bother? Why is this bothering me so bad that I have bitterness? Where is it coming from? And I think I talked about it in another series. A lot of things come from when we're young. Things that happened to us when we were young, and we carry them to adulthood. But as you go through that process, God will begin to peel those onions, and he will start to remove and free you from the bitterness, and he will free you from the resentment. And you will be amazed how strong you are when you come out. And a lot of times you look back and say, whew, that's all that was, Lord. I've been kicking and fighting. So yes, you will be free. Thank you for the question. If anybody else has another question, or as I say, if you have something to share, please share it. So spiritual hoarding, it's a serious thing, and you have to think about the things that you're holding on to. If you're holding on to bitterness, if you're holding on to resentment, let it go. Let it go. Because a lot of times the person or things that we're bitter and resented to can care less. They don't even know that you're bitter. And it's eating you up, not them. So now you got to save yourself from this untold generation. So you have to get on the throne. You got to get on your knees and say, Lord, I need to deliver from this bitterness, because I don't want to be bitter anymore. I don't want to be resentful. I don't want hatred. I don't want to be angry at folks. And I need you to help, no matter, even though it's hard. Because you go back and you start to think, because like I said, when God begins to peel that onion, and I love the questions, because these are part of spiritual hoarding, because we hoard bitterness. We hoard resentment. We hoard hatred. We keep this stuff inside because of stuff people have done with us, but it's not hurting them. It's hurting you, because you can't do the things that God called. You're not being effective because you're bitter, and we can trick ourselves in thinking we are. But we're really not, because we're holding anger because of what Uncle Joe did or what your mom did. You're holding a bitterness because of what happened to you. And you hold it so tight. I mean, we hold it just like we hold a fist. It is so tight that God can't get in and deliver. And God is trying to take, all I want to do is deliver you and set you free because you have so much potential. And I need of you. I have need of you. I need you to reach a generation of people. But I can't get you because you won't open up. And once we start to open up, we'll start to see the onion and the peelings are coming off. And things are falling off. The bitterness falls off. The hatred falls off. The anger, the resentment. All of these things start to fall off. And you find yourself becoming free. Now you can feel the weight. Now you can start to see your destiny. You start to see your purpose. You can't get to your purpose and destiny holding on like this. God has to begin to peel the onion. Because within the midst of that onion is your purpose. And it's your destiny. But you can't get to your purpose and destiny if it's so closed up like this. So I love the questions. Thank you. Keep them coming. So you have to, and like I said, it's all part of spiritual hoarding. So you have to ask yourself, what am I holding on to? What am I hoarding in my life spiritually that I need to let go and let God? And then you ask yourself naturally, look around your house. What am I holding on to that I need to get rid of? Maybe I need to start doing a cleansing spiritually and a natural cleansing. And start to get rid of some stuff that's not meaning me any good. It could be people that not mean you any good. You could be hoarding a job that God, you've been praying God to get off this job. You've been praying God to start your own business, but you're still on the darn job. And God is saying you're hoarding a job. I'm trying to get you off the job. And you keep holding it to yourself. Those are things that we hoard on to. People, bad relationships, ladies. We're hoarding on bad relationships, knowing it ain't going nowhere. And God is trying to tell you, I have something better for you, but you got to let it go. You got to let it go. So, as I said, we were talking about spiritual hoarding. For those of you who are just coming in, if you get a chance, the scripture that we read was 2 Kings, the 7th chapter. If you read it and you understand where we're coming from, and we're just talking about how, holding things in spiritually when God is trying to deliver and set you free. And you really have to begin to examine yourself. You have to be transparent. Someone put up there being transparent. You really have to be transparent and true to God. God knows, but he needs you to know. And you have to, am I ready to be transparent and really show my ugliness? Because I'm really ugly inside, because I'm holding a lot of stuff. I can put on the makeup, I can look good, I can dress good, I can talk good. But if people really knew what was going on inside of me, they'd be like, I don't want to be bothered with you. But you have to ask yourself, am I ready to get rid of? Because as I said earlier, a hoarder, it's, you go in their homes and they have stuff that they have collected for years. And the biggest problem of a hoarder is they don't want to admit that they're a hoarder. And that's the same thing spiritual. We don't want to admit that we have a problem. A hoarder looks at their stuff and says, I'm not hoarding. This stuff is important. And most of them can literally tell you where everything is in their home that's in there and where it came from. What is it? The purpose of it. And we can do the same thing. And it's basically excuses. We just make excuses of why we're keeping stuff. And we can say, well, Lord, I need this because of this, Lord. I need this for this. And I need, and Lord sitting there looking at us like, really? Girl, no, you don't. You don't need that. And we convince ourselves that, and that's the same thing as a hoarder, a natural hoarder does. They keep stuff. One thing about, and before we close, one thing about a natural hoarder is that they family comes in and helps them. Most of them clean up and try to get, spiritually, you have the same thing. God is there to help clean you, to help you triage all the problems and things and pain and the hurt that you've been going through. If it's from death, if it's from relationship, God is there to help you get through it. You're not going through it alone. You are never alone. God is always walking with you every single day. So he is there to help you clean up your house, your natural house, just as much as these people have their families come in and clean up their natural house. And a lot of times they have to get professionals. And same thing with us spiritually. You may need to get a prayer partner, your pastor, or minister or someone to help you get through this, and that's okay. So when you really be transparent and honest with yourself and say, you know what, I have a hoarding problem. I have a spiritual problem hoarding stuff, and I'm ready to let go. And God, I really need you to come in and clean my house, because this stuff is weighing me down. It's weighing my appearance. It's weighing the way I act. It's weighing the way I talk to people. It's weighing me down. And this is not me. And you have to be honest and say, you know, this is not me. I'm hoarding stuff that I don't even know where it come from. And you have to ask God to deliver you and set you free. And I guarantee you He will. But as I always say, you have to be willing to go through the process. The process is not easy and the process is not beautiful. But I guarantee you the outcome of the process is out of sight. Because when you get out of that process and you get to the other end, you can say, thank you, Jesus, hallelujah. This is what it looks like to be on the other side. And then you look behind and say, whew, I made it through. And now you can help bring someone else through. Well, I hope something that was said tonight was a blessing. Vandora, thank you for the comments. Thank you for the questions. Thank you for the dialogue. Regina, thank you for joining in. Michelle, good to see you tonight. Thank you for joining in. And I love each and every one of you. And I thank you all for joining in. I thank you for the birthday wishes that I got today. It was a blessing to me to see all the birthday wishes. And I love you much. But put a comment down there if you enjoyed the conversation tonight. Let me know. We'll keep the ball rolling. I will be back on next Tuesday. Lord's willing, as I said, Lord's willing, the creek don't rise. We will be back on next Tuesday at 10 o'clock. And just as a closer, as I said before I came on, I am a paparazzi. I'm a consultant. I sell the paparazzi accessories. They're the $5 bling. So if you ladies that are on here, except Regina, are interested in some $5 bling, hit me up in the comment section. Let me know so we can throw a little party and I can get them the items so you can see them and be blessed. So thank you all for joining. Have a blessed and wonderful evening. God bless you all. Good night. Bye-bye.